Hello. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, was re-elected on Thursday, July 18th, after a sensationalized campaign. Here's a summary of von der Leyen's candidacy speech in the European Parliament and reactions from political groups, MEPs, as well as me. Von der Leyen began her speech highlighting the difficulties of the past 5 years and how we can change things for the better in the coming years. All depends on the choices that we make in the next 5 years. She calls for the prioritization of the single market, both for businesses and farmers. Ursula von der Leyen emphasized a number of times the important role that the agricultural industry plays in our homeland, how the challenges of man-made climate change and bureaucracy tend to enable our farmers to grow our food and maintain their businesses. She promised that she will keep the Green Deal whilst also wanting to reduce bureaucracy for farmers to get the help they need. She revealed that she wants a larger union that acts together as one against the enemies of democracy, prosperity, and freedom. Von der Leyen mentioned that 200 million euros will be given as humanitarian aid to the Palestinian Authority, who are facing gut-wrenching atrocities in Gaza, and that all hostages must be released to Israel in order for the war to stop. She also gave a diplomatic scold to Viktor Orban in relations to Ukraine.
I will never let the extreme polarization of our societies become accepted. I will never accept that demagogues and extremists destroy our European way of life. And I stand here today ready to lead the fight with all the democratic forces in this House. 2 weeks ago, a European Union Prime Minister went to Moscow. This so-called peace mission was nothing but an appeasement mission. This was a plain appeasement mission.
Von der Leyen called for a European Defence Union to protect our citizens. We need to invest a lot more in the industry to keep said protection. This European Defence Union is not the same as the European Union Army that many are calling for, and that we need to invest together. She wants to triple the size of Frontex's Coast Guard to 30,000 personnel. On the topic of our economic crisis, von der Leyen made reference to the pandemic-era instruments to reduce the impact of joblessness and poverty. She announced that a commissioner will be appointed directly to develop affordable housing across the continent, because this is a European issue, not a national one. She also wants to look into the impact of social media into our lives and democracy, and also to bring more equality between both sexes. Von der Leyen called for stronger and closer relations within the EU institutions, and ended the speech with this paragraph.
Honourable members, to finish, at the start of this second mandate, his second mandate, Jacques Delors said, Notre communauté
Our community
est non seulement
is
le
not
fruit de
merely
l'histoire
the fruit
et
of
de la
history
nécessité,
and necessity,
mais aussi de la
but
volonté.
also of
This is
will.
the fundamental choice that we face. History is keeping knocking at our doors. The need for Europe will be stronger than ever. Our determination has to match. That is what has brought our continent together. Not the inscrutable forces of fate, but the power of people striving for more. Like the 3 prisoners on Ventotene Island in the 40s, who laid out a vision of a united continent. And like the post-war generation who built peace on coal and steel. People stood unarmed in the face of Soviet tanks, who put carnation into rifles and tore down a wall with their bare hands. People who still risk their life today for this dream, called Europe. Generation after generation have made Europe, have chosen a strong Europe. And now that responsibility is up on us. The last 5 years, we have shown what we can do when we work together. So let's do it again. Let us make the choice of strength. Let us make the choice of leadership. Let us make the choice of Europe. Thank you very much, and long live Europe.
This was quite a contentious election. The mainstream media was promoting this narrative that the united right wing was going to be the kingmakers of this election. This was even before the European elections took place. But what actually is happening is that they have a fragmented front, like I mentioned in a previous video, especially with the political group movements that led to the death of the Identity and Democracy group and the birth of the Patriots for Europe and Europeans of Sovereign Nations groups. I don't know the exact difference between those two groups. Someone please explain to me. In order for a Commission President candidate to be elected in Parliament, he or she will need to have at least half of the MEPs votes in favor of he or she, or him or her. In 2019, Ursula von der Leyen was elected with 383 votes out of 747 votes, back when the British were still in the European Union. 51.3% of yes votes. This year, Ursula von der Leyen was re-elected with 401 votes out of 719, 55.8% of yes votes, a noticeable 4.5% increase. The centrist coalition of Christian Democrats, Social Democrats, and Liberals that agreed to this re-election has said 401 MEPs sitting in Parliament right now. Furthermore, the Greens group said that they would support and vote for von der Leyen and support her candidacy within reason. Now, this was a secret ballot, unlike other ballots in the European Parliament, so there is no clear way of viewing who voted in favor of whom or not. What has been reported by a journalist in Political Europe on Twitter is that Strack-Zimmermann, who was the Liberal candidate for the Commission President seat before the centrist coalition negotiated VDL's re-election in the informal EU Council meeting that took place a couple of weeks ago, which I also made a video about that, voted against her coalition, siding with the extreme left and right-wing groups. The German Liberal Party, FDP, also voted against her. That's 5 seats that did not vote for VDL. But Volt, who has 5 MEPs now, came out saying that they are going to vote in favor of von der Leyen and published a reasoning behind it with pros and cons bullet points. This clears out some of the fogginess of this whole process. The other groups and unaffiliated members presumably voted against the centrist coalition, and some sulked about it publicly. And if you are pouting too, I have a message for you. Read them and weep.
We did it, Joe.
Anyway, I have to cut this digital rendezvous between us because I have another hot video to drop. I'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.